Friends, welcome to the Wednesday LiveStream for Dulcimer Crossing. This is our temporary address. It'll eventually say dulcimercrossing.com, but as we continue and finish our transition from our legacy site to the new site, which is our current one, this is where you can find us. If you accidentally go to the other one, it's going to point you here and bring you here. But what I want to do today is we are in the middle of festival season for the dulcimer world. I don't know I don't know if you've taken part in these or have felt like you're trying to drink from a fire hose with a teacup. But the middle of September is the Walnut Valley Festival that had in-person workshops and virtual experiences of the concerts. The last week in September was the Southern California Dulcimer Heritage Festival. Last weekend was the Nutmeg Dulcimer Festival based out of Milford, Connecticut. This week is the Quarantune Dulcimer Festival. This is the fifth one, and I'll be teaching at that festival. This is my shirt from the fourth one, and that's the largest one, gathering the largest number of teachers and students. And next week will be the New Mexico Dulcimer Festival. That'll be online. It'll also be the Black Mountain Festival in North Carolina. The week after that will be the Hochbrett Festival, the Zweiten Hochbrett Festival that's centered in Germany. All the faculty there are people who went to school together in München, in Munich, and I got to meet one of those teachers and work with her at this past festival. Then we're into November, and the North Georgia Foothills Dulcimer Association is toward the end of that month, but there's some other festivals that are also happening. What my reason for wanting to focus on that today is I hear from colleagues all the time. I hear from friends all the time. I hear from students all the time. Wow, after a festival, how do I make use of all this? How do I follow up? Now, from a teacher's perspective, I want to follow up with students to see, how did it go? What was your experience of the workshop that I provided? Because I want to provide the best possible workshops that suit your learning and your learning themes, your learning experience. And if I don't have the feedback or the input of that, I can't improve. So I want that. But from a student perspective, I don't know if you've had this experience. It's like you're drinking from a fire hose with a teacup. You have all this great stuff come. Doesn't matter how long you've been playing. I've been playing the mountain dulcimer for 41 years, over 41 years. I've been playing the hammer dulcimer for over 37 now. They're 4 years apart. I started the hammer dulcimer 4 years after the mountain dulcimer. I've been playing for a long time. I've learned a lot. And sometimes when you've done something for a long time, you can feel like you've learned all there is. You've kind of plumbed the depths. You're getting a little jaded. Been here, done that kind of thing. Got the t-shirt, and I got the t-shirt, right? But I'm so excited when I get to sit in the student seat and have the experience of participating in a festival, not as someone learning, but as someone going there for continuing education. Because my mind was so blown wide open with the Nutmeg Festival last week, because I got to have instructors from Japan and Germany and France, and people that I would not be able to probably go and spend time with in person. Not yet, anyway. I now know I want to, and that's one of the benefits of this. But first workshop, a whole different way of playing, a lot of tremolo playing. This was from Mimi from Japan. Some tremolo exercises, two-handed things, Japanesey, she said. And from Carmen Amrein from Germany, Huckbrett and polkas and modern Huckbrett music, salterio music. That's right, the Italian type tradition. And then Christian Hewitt, who was doing two-hand tapping. So on the mountain dulcimer. So I had hammer dulcimer, mountain dulcimer, expansions of what were the possibilities and what I'm interested in. That's the thing. I may say I'm not really interested in that or that or that. And I find out I really am. and I come away and I'm talking, and my wife says, "Wow, it sounds like it was a good experience for you." It's like, yeah, It was a really good experience for me because I was my mind was opened in ways after all these years of playing to see there's some other things that can be done and what are the possibilities. I love that. But now the question is, how do I follow up on that experience? Now, one of the benefits of virtual festivals is we get our handouts ahead of time, if there are handouts. Now, not all the workshop presenters had handouts, but most of them did. And when they did, I decided I was going to do something that I learned from one of my students, um, Karen, Karen O'Neill, who has made good use of the program called Fourscore. So let me do this. It's on my tablet. I imported I from Dropbox, where I saved all of the handouts that were given to me. I imported them into Fourscore, and that let me take notes with my pencil on the screen in red from the comments that the instructor made, so that afterwards I could look at this and go, oh yeah, that's there. Like, I didn't realize that this G natural was going to stay G natural all the time, because the way that she had written it, the up stem and the down stem notes were sitting on top of each other instead of beside each other. So the sharp was only supposed to be touching one G, not the other G. And if I hadn't written that down, because I had to ask the question, if I hadn't written that down, I'd forget that later. And then she's explaining, what does it mean to knock on the wood, and what's batutu mean, batuto, and the descriptions and things, the little things that get said beside the music. Now, now I save those annotations on the page. Now, how do I make use of that as I work this new information into my daily life? I'm a music teacher, so immediately right after this is over, I'm excited. Monday comes, it's time to teach some new music. It's time to teach music that I've already planned to teach. It's time to work with students who don't have this experience, aren't interested in these things. My life is moving. The train is back on the track. My life is moving. What am I going to do to not forget the excitement about this? Well, the first thing is, because the festival ended on Saturday, I had Sunday in which to play some of these things. So I'd say the first thing to do is, as soon after the festival as possible, play through the music, look at the handouts, do some active reinvigorating of your brain about what you just experienced, because that helps your brain say, oh, we better hold on to this. We better not lose whatever this new exciting thing was, because you're putting energy into it. That's the way my brain works. It says, if you're going to focus on this, I'm going to give you some storage space. So Christian Hewitt was, I just want to, I'm excited about this because this is not the way I've played or thought. There it is. It's not the way I've played or thought about the mountain dulcimer. But in his particular workshop, he was talking about using tapping ideas. Using both hands as tapping things, and all of a sudden articulations with the right hand adding on to whatever this chord. It got so exciting that now I had to, the next day, as soon as I was done with the festival, I had to run and go do it again. And my wife was listening in the other room. She goes, well, that sounded really cool. She doesn't always comment on what I'm doing. She gets to hear it. She doesn't always comment. But so I got some family feedback that says maybe I should do that again, rather than, what did you just do to torture your instrument? So doing it as soon as possible after the festival is one thing you can do. Now, if I was driving to a festival, on my way home, what I might do is listen to the recordings of the instructors or the performers that I saw at that festival to reinforce what was going on. I'm not driving home, so the equivalent of that is to play it myself. Or if I do get resources from them, I do go to their website, I do download, I do purchase and download their recordings or their books and things. I will have those resources. And if I've had to order them, they come through the mail. I get to be surprised as they come later. But it is important to do that as soon as possible because the distractions of daily life are going to come and take away that excitement and those possibilities. And I'm already feeling that. The second Hochbrett Festival, let me see if I can, I know I can, but let me hochbrettfestival.com. I put this in, oh, let's put this in the chat. Hochbrettfestival.com takes us to the second festival. And you can, in this, let me share my screen. I can have it display everything in German by choosing the German flag, or in English by choosing the British flag. But this is coming up this weekend, and these are the instructors. I have a wonderful recording by Franziska, and I studied this time with Carmen, and I'm looking forward to meeting these people. So I'm going to book and become part of that festival as a participant, as another continuing ed event for me as an instructor. I want to learn from what they're talking about. Now, I was all excited to do it last week. I haven't done it yet. Am I forgetting? Did I lose my enthusiasm? I was going to do it. I looked at it on Saturday. I had a question and got answered, but I haven't booked yet. Do you do this sometimes? It's really exciting and important, and then the phone rings or someone comes to the door or you have to go to the next thing. How do I remember that? Well, I keep mulling it over. I'm going to book as soon as we're done today. I'm going to book that and I'm going to join that festival so that I don't forget it, because then it gets on my calendar. If I put it off to later, it's likely I won't do it. And there's a theme right there. When we're thinking about our music, if it's that thing we add into our life after everything else is done, it's really easy for it to never get added. That it just keeps getting bumped down the road, a can that's kicked down the road, and we get to it when we've exhausted all of our other possibilities. If it's a priority in our life, I'm actually going to have to schedule it into my calendar. I'm going to have to go to my calendar and say, I'm going to do this. Now, I have a student right now who is working on building this into their experience of playing the instrument in order to be able to progress and do the things that they've identified that they want to do with their music. And for that, I suggest this. I have on the Dulcimer Crossing blog a long time ago. Here is I'm going to put this into the chat. Yes, I love that, Jim. Don't procrastinate today. You can always do it tomorrow. The 5-finger regimen of how I organize practice and how I suggest that you do as well. First, when you have 5 on your hand, if you're lucky enough not to have a meat cutting or a wood shop accident, tune up. Always tune up first, then warm up, something to let your hands know we're playing music right now. We're playing dulcimer. Then whatever's the hardest thing you're working on, make that the next thing you do after you've warmed up, because you're fresh. Then that one's going to kick you around. So play something familiar after that. Then finally play something you've memorized, or test your memorization. So that 5-finger method of practicing is a way to organize the time once you've decided to do it. Now, I ran into at a pastor's continuing ed event that I provided the kids program for 10 years. There was a fellow from Australia who was an artist, and he talked about, he sketched a lot of abstract things while the lectures would be going on for the adults. And I don't really think I understand abstract art. And until he started explaining what he was doing, it's like I'm taking what is the barest skeleton of what this is, and that's what I'm focusing on, not all the accoutrement, not the makeup and the hair, not the clothes, not the skin, the flesh, the muscles. I'm just looking at what is the inside stuff, what are the angles, and trying to focus on that. Now, sometimes that was visual, sometimes he might have been doing it from a mental perspective as someone spoke in the lecture that he was attending. But as he shared with us his sketchbook, and he did a special presentation, the two things that struck me the most about what he said is, long ago I made the commitment to draw every day. Doesn't matter, draw every day. Doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter if it's bad, doesn't matter if I'm inspired or not. I need to pick up an instrument and a paper, and I need to draw every day. It's my commitment. I want to be better at it. I need to do it every day. The second thing he said is, I'm committing to push paint around once a week. Now, he didn't say paint a great painting, paint a picture, do something beautiful. It was committing to getting his brush in paint on canvas, or whatever the surface is that he's going to be applying his paint to. Do it once a week. Now, this is similar to Julia Cameron's um, Artist's Way. And my friend Emily Ann Peterson hosts uh, annual workshops on this particular book. I'm working on Walking in This World, which is the next one. And one of the things that Julia says is she asks everyone to commit to journaling every day and then taking a walk once a week. So you can see there's a granular once a week kind of thing, and then there are once a day kind of thing, and then a once a week kind of rhythm. And the walking is like walking meditation. It's letting you um, and then she talks about an artist date once a month. So there's something that happens regularly where you do something artistic. It doesn't have to be in your medium, but if you commit to do it, you have these regular rhythms to build into your creativity. So for festival follow-up, if I commit to playing once a day, following the 5-finger regimen, the hard thing is probably going to be something I just learned at the festival. Easy thing is something I knew before, and something that is so easy now that I don't need the paper for it. I can memorize it. The memorizing can become my warm up, and I can start to move things into my repertoire that way. Now, I may have taken 5 workshops, and each workshop had 2 pieces, let's say minimally 2 pieces. That's 10 new pieces of music that I'm going to work in. What if I commit that for 1 month it's going to be this piece, for the next month it'll be a new piece, and as I'm doing that, I'm working through the things I learned at the festival. Now, in that process, I will also have the experience of, I really don't like this piece. This is not my cup of tea. It was exciting at the time, it was interesting, I learned something from it. I really don't want to do that. Well, you don't have to. You can say that's not my favorite. But the other thing that I do is, if I'm going through, and it's possible in Fourscore to make those annotations on the music that you have added to that. If it's on a physical piece of paper, you can do that too. When I have, like many of us, a huge library of books that I love. There's tune books, there's skill books, there's things from friends, things from mentors, things from people who've passed on, and now this is one of my ways to remember them and what they gave to me. But when I will pull those off the shelf, open them up, and I can see I've made little annotations on the pages. If it's a specifically a tune thing, I'll have noted, check off, yeah, I played this one. Fourscore has gotten out of your control. Uh-oh. Do you need a 5 score? um, I'll put a check mark to say, yeah, I went through this one. If it didn't mean anything to me, I did it. So yeah, I already looked at this one once. If I liked it, I'll put an exclamation point. If I feel like I've mastered it, I'll often put a big star, and then the date when I feel like this is really when it worked. And so I can page through and I'll forget that there are tunes that I really liked, that I worked on, that I feel good about playing until I see my notations like, oh. And so then I go through and I start adding those back in as my hardest thing or used to be hard, depending on where it is today. But I'm building in, I've committed to daily playing, not working, but playing music. And if I can only get 10 minutes, if I can only get 20 minutes, I can still go through this process. Now, if I do it every day, the tuning up is not going to take very long. If I do it once a week, tuning up might take more of my playing time. So there's one argument for playing every day. I might notice there's only one that needs some help. Maybe no, but none of them need help. They're staying pretty steady. Then I can warm up. Doesn't have to be long. Could be that that's all the time I have for, and it helps me. It could be that I went through the warm up by playing something that used to be hard that I've memorized, and I like that tune, makes me feel good. Now let's look at the hard thing. And then after that, when I'm feeling a little bit battered because the tune has kicked me around and it's like I'm not feeling as confident about my skills and abilities and interest, go to something that used to be hard so I can kind of give myself some capacity building and then work on memorizing something. I can do that in 20 minutes. And if I can't get all of it at one time, I'll if I spend a little time tuning up and warming up at some point in the day and I come back and I have some time later, I'll warm up and then work on the hard thing. And maybe I'll, the phone rings and I have to get distracted or it's dinner time. I'll come back after dinner and now I'll do the thing that used to be hard, or I'll reinforce that. But I'm using that 5 finger regimen as a way of building new repertoire, challenging repertoire, together with what I feel comfortable with and what I like and what I enjoy, and turning some of those things into my warm up exercises. I like that Rumi quote. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but there's a t shirt. It's a little bit long for a bumper sticker, but that's a great t shirt. So, what I'm doing to follow up from this festival, oh, another thing that, let me change views, that my friend Karen has done is she showed me how to organize everything in, you could do it by genres, but I could also create, I can organize everything that I worked at this workshop and say nutmeg. And so I will have a memory of it was this weekend and everything happened at the same time. I can find those all in one place. I can tag them with the teacher's name, and then I can sort by teacher. Like here, composers, genres, tags, labels. I can choose one of those labels to be the name of the instructor, or I could choose it by tuning. And so there's so many different ways I can sort once I get it in here. Now, that does mean some of my follow up is going to be some homework, quote, paperwork, tablet work that gets me ready to be able to find those things. And I got to be honest, I haven't done that with this one because this is the first festival that I've gone to in the continuing ed way where I've moved everything over into Fourscore so that I can do that. But when she would come to her lessons, she would say, here's where I have all of the handouts you've given me from our lessons. I took a workshop with Stephen Seifert. Here's where his are. I took a workshop at Berkeley Dulcimer Gathering. She could find all those by the gathering. She could find them by the instructor. She could find them by the tuning. She could, she used tags and was able to, as she entered these things in, put them all together and then be able to find things and keep track of them. And then she had an orchestra group she was playing with. All the music that was part of that orchestra went there. Now she may have learned it from so and so and it has their name on it. She may have learned at that festival, but the orchestra, she can find it for that purpose. So some of it means thinking about what I have and how I want to use it, but the more brain power I bring to it, the better my follow-up and that the way that stuff gets moved into what I do, instead of me coming to next year's festival saying, "Oh, I learned some good stuff last year. I wonder what it was." Now, one other thing I want to say about the virtual festivals is I'm not spending all my time or money on travel. I'm not spending all my time or money on finding lodging somewhere and sleeping in a strange place. I can sleep in my own house, which means I don't have to take up that extra travel time, but I do have to dedicate follow up time. And I have an opportunity to do that because it didn't take all those other things as a distraction. So it is about me making some commitments to follow up the same way as an instructor. I do that with my students, but on a student side, my follow up. Now, one other bit of follow up I want to do, and I haven't done it yet, is I'm going to write to each one of the instructors to thank them for what I got from their workshop. And as a teacher, that is the real payday. Yep, we need money to pay rent and gas and food and all that stuff. But the real payday for a teacher is when the student says, "This was helpful," or "This didn't work as well. And I think if you tried this," I mean, feedback like that, also valuable. Maybe it doesn't feel so good, but also valuable so that we can make it better in the future. So, with that, we've come to the end of our time for today's live stream. So, I have a few things I want to call attention to before we go. I already showed you the Huckbrett Festival that is coming in 2 weeks. I don't know about the deadline for um, the New Mexico Dulcimer Festival. Let's look and see what they say. And let's share their tab. This is just nmdulcefest.com to see if there's still some time to register for that one. Yes, they close on the 11th, so that you have about a week to register for that festival. The other things that are coming up from Dulcimer Crossing experience, let's see. I want to share that one. Is next week on the 14th. We have another live workshop coming. Ilis Mears, who's a national champion in the hammer dulcimer, is going to focus on smoothing our playing using the title Gravel Roads or Fairway. This is a workshop that is available to members of Dulcimer Crossing who are mentor or workshop level students, but it is also available as an a la carte thing. And you can either upgrade for access, or if you're not a member of Dulcimer Crossing, let me log out. And if you click on the front page, it needs to have the button. That shows me some feedback. I need to add the sign up button and move these over so that they're showing the ones that are coming up, because it is possible to just join that workshop as an a la carte one-off kind of thing. And you get access to the live workshop in addition to the archive video. The archive videos are saved on the same page that all these live streams are. So workshop and mentor level students get access to these all of the time. And finally, tomorrow starts the Quarantine Dulcimer Festival. And on Thursday afternoon, to kick it all off, we have, let's see here. Is the vendors opportunity. Let's see, sponsors. Yep, here we go. This is the vending location. And everyone who is sponsors of the Quarantine Festival, and Dulcimer Crossing is one of those sponsors. You can see we're right here. But let's go through everybody that's going to be there. There's a lot of sponsors. Stephen Ruth Smith, Music Lady Carol Walker. the New Mexico Dulcimer Festival, Songbird Hammer Dulcimers, Brett Widgway's Learning for Life, the Music for Healing and Transition program, Katie Moritz's Custom Hammers and Gifts, Cabin Hill Music by Linda Weber Collins, Ilis Mears. Ooh, there's who's going to be doing our workshop. Colorado Dulcimer Festival, Thomasina Levy, New Harmony Dulcimer Company, and the Kentucky Music Institute, which is a new thing that just started this year with a different set of instructors. There's a little overlap, but mostly instructors that we don't have at Dulcimer Crossing. So another way to learn online. All of these sponsors have a Zoom room. So if I click on the Dulcimer Crossing one, it's going to take us right there. And that's where I'll be tomorrow afternoon. And that's from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. For me, that'll be 2 to 4:30 p.m. For you, it'll be wherever your time zone is. But that's coming up. And if you have questions, you want to poke around, I'll be giving tours and answering questions. But that's a way to talk with all the people. It's like the vendor marketplace that happens in person festivals that doesn't happen in virtual ones. This is our best way to do it. So thank you for your attention today. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. If you're coming to the Quarantine Festival, I'll look forward to seeing you in classes through the weekend. It's still possible to order t-shirts and hoodies and merch like that, as well as concert tickets, and there's some door prizes this year. So you can visit the dulcimerfestival.com and sign up for those things if you haven't already. But I thank you for your time today. Yesterday, yes, there was no Facebook yesterday, but we're back today.